Hey, Smart Chiropractors. I'm Dr. Jeff Langmaid here with my partner, Dr. Jason Deitch, and we have a special guest, Dr. Gilles Lamarche from Life University today, and we are super excited to talk about Founders Month, to talk about chiropractic research, and talk about how you, yes, you, can make an impact with and on the future of chiropractic. You guys out there, you know how passionate we are about research, how we utilize it to power everything within what we do at the Smart Chiropractor. And speaking with Gilles a few weeks back, we learned of some exceptionally fantastic projects that they have going on, but it does require support. We're going to break it down, answer any questions that you have, and talk about it all on this episode. Gilles, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic, Dr. Jeff, Dr. Jason. Thanks for having me with you and giving us an opportunity to talk about Founders Month of Giving for Research.
I'm really excited for everybody to be here. This is something that we want to make an annual campaign every year. We're going to talk about it in detail. I'm going to cut to the chase, as I try to always do in the very beginning. I know not all of you have time to sit through everything, so let's work backwards. What we're asking and what we're talking about is the idea that if we want more, I'll call it cultural credibility, if we want more ability to be able to say the science and research supports what we do as chiropractors, the impact chiropractic can have on people, guess what that requires? More research. And considering the world today and how science and our culture works today, guess where most research for chiropractic is going to likely be funded from? Us. So we're just going to sort of call out the profession and say it's time for us to put our money where our mouth is. And if we want to see more chiropractic, we now have the opportunity to invest in it. Gilles reached out to us with basically a new campaign and program you put together. It's Founders Month for Research. This is specifically at Life University. Why don't you tell us what's happening from your perspective, and why do you believe it's so important for chiropractors to get into sort of the culture of giving back, specifically around the topic of research?
Well, Jason, thanks for the question. You've heard me say many times that research is really the currency of cultural authority. And if we're going to increase our cultural authority, which I think is a must, there's never been a better time in history for us to do that. It's going to take a lot of cash. And the only way we can do that is for individual chiropractors to start investing in research of significance as it relates to how the body functions neurologically and the impact that a chiropractic adjustment has on people. So if I read you briefly the mission statement of the Dr. Sid E. Williams Center for Chiropractic Research at Life University, is to conduct brain, body, neuroplasticity research of clinical relevance to both the patients and the profession of chiropractic, embodying the core values of the university through excellence in the research process, strategic partnerships, and knowledge translation. What does that mean, knowledge translation? The goal of the research department at Life is to, yes, gather information with research and then share it out. Share it out to the media, share it out to the profession, make sure that we're sharing it out on social media. And when we do that, I honestly believe that the needle is going to start to shift. I know that more and more people, utilize chiropractors on a regular basis, but what if people truly understood what really happens every time they receive an adjustment? If they understood what happens neurologically, I know not every patient wants to know, right? They just want to, hey, what's it going to cost? What are you going to do? How am I going to get well? How long is it going to take? Those are the basic questions. But there are leaders and there are decision makers. There are people that can move the needle. They want to know, show me the facts. And yes, we have all sorts of great research on back pain, neck pain. We know we're good at it, but there's so much more. And so now with a brain, body, plasticity research focus, which initially started in New Zealand. Dr. Heidi Havoc and her group has done great research that way. Life University, but 3 years ago, started moving in that direction when Dr. Scott became the president here. And Dr. Stephanie Sullivan, who's our director of research, who is a DC, who practiced and decided to do a PhD in neuroscience, is leading the way with this research. That's my belief. after 42 years in the profession, I know that so many people want more data. And the fact that our goal here at Life is to gather that data and then to transfer the knowledge to the profession and to the communities we serve, there's the piece of difference. Because I know a lot of chiropractors who say, where'd you find that piece of research? I wish I knew where to find that, and they just don't know where to go. Well, I can tell you, you could now go already to the Life University Research website and start reading some of the research that has been published. They're gathering that data and they're making it available to people, and it's pretty simple. Do you want me to share that URL? Would that make sense? It's pretty simple URL. It's ccr.life.edu/projects. Go there. You can read some of the projects that are already in play and look at what's already been done, some of which has already been published. And now you have a database that's going to build with all this great information.
Gilles, I want to dive into the research, but I got to say, I'm curious on how you're 40 years in the profession, yet you're less than 50 years old. The math just isn't adding up to me here, but maybe that's a conversation for another day. But one of the things that I found just really intriguing with the heavy investment that you guys have had, in research over these last few years and really pushing things forward. Is in the realm of performance. I know there's so many younger docs out there and hey, experienced docs as well that are really interested in performance, that are interested in how that ties in sports in some capacity. And I know that you guys have a lot of really interesting stuff going on in that realm. So I guess what are some of your thoughts? What have you seen from your team in terms of excitement around reduction in pain versus human performance? And what are you feeling out there in the research field and with your team?
Well, I can tell you, I don't lead the research team, so that's a bit of a difficult question. I'll give you the pieces that I know, because obviously I go to the research center on occasion to visit and have them translate some of that information I can get. But the ultimate goal at Life is, and I don't think you were aware of this, but is to build a chiropractic research and human performance center. It's a big goal. That's going to take, 10 million or more to build that center. But they're already in the process of doing that brain-based research of significance that shows how function is being altered. So all sorts of projects as it relates to physiological function. And a few years ago, Dr. Scott and the Board of Trustees dedicated a much larger amount to research than had ever been dedicated here before, but it's still not enough, which is why we're talking today, which is why we launched this Founders Month and Giving for Research. And I had a really interesting experience last summer when a chiropractor that I knew just a little bit had met our research director, and they started having a conversation about what was happening. And she said to our research director, well, I know people that have money, I have patients who have money, maybe they'd like to donate. And interestingly enough, the first check that we got from a patient, a happy patient who happens to be well off, was a check for $80,000. And then from the same practice, we got another check for $20,000. And all it took was for the chiropractor to ask these people, have you ever thought of donating to chiropractic research? You've had such good results under chiropractic care. Would you ever consider that? And the first lady, as I was told, said, well, what would that look like? And the chiropractor said, well, what would you like to invest? And I could have a conversation with someone like University. And so when you go to the website and you look at the COVID immune system research that is currently being done, a piece of that was funded by those two donations from two happy patients, $100,000. It doesn't fully fund the project, but it funded the beginning of the project, and it's now continuing with the potential for those people and other people to continue to do that. So as chiropractors, certainly the years I was in practice, I saw the impact that chiropractic had on people's immune system function. No doubt about it. People would tell me all the time. But in the world of research, that means nothing. It's anecdotal. So I know I'm under regular chiropractic care. I know how it impacts my immune system. I know how it impacts my physiology because I feel it, right? It's how we function. So the research now needs to give us the data that shows that it's not just Gilles that benefits from being checked and adjusted as required physiologically, but that everyone under chiropractic care would benefit physiologically. I think that's where we need the data.
That's fantastic. We do need the data, and I know many, if not most, in our profession go, where is it? How come it's not there? Why don't we already have the data? And it is a challenge because, like you just said, many of us go, I know it works. Why do I need research to prove what I already know is true? But your arguments or reasons are very compelling. You created Founders Month, so let's get sort of into what does that mean, and what's the challenge to the profession? What is Founders Month for research all about?
So I think all our chiropractors know that chiropractic was founded on September 18th, 1895. If you don't know that, you missed a philosophy class at school, but I would assume that all of you know that. And we knew that there was no way that we could raise significant funds in one day. So we extended it to like a month. So let's look at the month of September. Every year, during the month of September, we will ask the profession to contribute to chiropractic research, and we will ask the profession to ask their patient base to contribute. So if we totaled every chiropractic visit during the month of September, I'm not sure how many visits that would be. I don't have that data, but it's in the millions. And what if every patient donated $1? And every once in a while you have a wealthy patient whose life was changed, dramatically changed, and potentially saved by chiropractic, who says, you know what? Yeah, here's 100,000. Here's a 7-figure gift. I'm going to pledge 7 figures to you per year for 5 years. That could happen. And we know of a lot of famous wealthy people who benefit from chiropractic, but nobody's ever taken the time to ask them. And these two ladies that I'm talking about said to their chiropractor, thank you for asking. I would have never thought of putting some of my philanthropic dollars towards chiropractic research, but based on what you're sharing and what you're attempting to accomplish, I want to support that. I want to fund that.
That's awesome. And Jeff and I have been doing a lot of talking about, our values individually as chiropractors, our values as a company. Is this important? Is it not important? Where does this work within our philosophy, I'll say? And the conclusion was that it is important. It is something that needs to be done, and somebody's got to invest in it. And it would be great if we had, our version of, these massive philanthropists, billionaires that were just throwing money to prove it, what we know is true. But at the moment, we don't. Maybe one day we will, because many of them do get adjusted. And maybe one of you listening right now has one of them as your patient. But until then, Gilles, Jeff and I have been talking, and we want to challenge our group, challenge the Smart Chiropractors. Number one, we believe that there's power in the network. There's power in the tribe, that collectively we can do a lot more if we challenge each other and push each other. And so what we are looking to hopefully do, our ask to our Smart Chiropractors, and I hope this is the same math as you, but this is sort of what we came up for convenience, was to look at the month of August, this month. Because September is the month you should be giving, our request to our Smart Chiropractors is to count up the number of people you see, the number of visits you see in the month of August, and multiply that number by $1. Simply $1. However many people you see in the month of August, multiply that number by $1. And please, please make that pledge to this project in the month of September, so that we can, as a group, our challenge to ourselves is really be, I'll call it the most generous company or network or group or organization of chiropractors who are smart and realize that in order for these projects to live, we have to give money to support those projects to happen. What's not smart is for all of us to go, how come there's no research? How come nothing's ever happening? How come they're not doing anything? How come they don't take leadership? How come they don't do research? Without you contributing in some way to the they. So they is we, And we, maybe you and I and Jeff and Jill. And our challenge is all of us as the Smart Chiropractor Network to, really put our money where our mouth is. Really, do we believe that this is important for our profession? And if it is, what are you doing to contribute to what you believe is important? If you don't think it's important, nothing we can say. If you think it's important, and we do, then it's hard to say it's important without also making some sort of contribution to the process. So bottom line, that's what we're hoping for. We're hoping the Smart Chiropractor becomes the #1 group that gives to Founders Month for September. Again, counting up how many people you saw in August. We would love that title, but that's only going to happen if all of us get this big idea and start giving together as a group. There's a link that we've put, I guess, above our video. You click that link. Let me make a couple suggestions / requests. Number one, please click the link, and when you've calculated how many people you've seen, how many visits I'll say you've seen in the month of August, please click that link on this page and give that number times $1. That's ask number one. Ask number two, if you want better results, is to consider when you go to give your August / September number, to consider an ongoing monthly residual recurring gift / investment. You're not investing in Life University. This isn't about students and tuition and sports and all that stuff. This goes to research, okay? And it doesn't matter.
100% dedicated.
It doesn't matter what school you went to in order to know that research benefits the profession. So you're investing in the profession, you're investing in your future. So ask number two is to consider a recurring monthly in addition to counting up how many visits times $1. And if you want ask number three for best results, listen to Dr. Lamarche's, listen to Gilles' story about you never know who would give until you ask. So there is an ability, if you want to take this seriously as we are ourselves, that you can set up a specific dedicated fundraising page like the one you'll see we have specifically for your practice, for your patients. And you just never know who's going to raise their hands and give $5, $5,000, $5 million until you ask. And Gilles, you mentioned it. I know, I thankfully, we share stories on a regular basis. The #1 commonality between all of those people that you reach out to when they are philanthropic comes down to one simple common denominator is what you just said, and I want to make sure everybody hears it, and that's thank you for asking. Nobody asked me before. And that may be something, all of you feel as well. Jeff and I are making a donation on behalf of the Smart Chiropractor. We probably wouldn't have unless Gilles asked, and he did. So we're proud to do it. It actually makes us feel that we're contributing. Gilles, thank you for asking. Maybe some of you will feel that way as well. Maybe some of your patients will feel that as well. But Gilles, let me sort of kick it back to you to sort of elaborate more on, your experience of chiropractors. I say giving, I mean investing in the profession's future.
Well, before I go there, if I may, just for everybody to understand, the infrastructure for the research department at Life University and all equipment required has already all been funded. So everything we raise during Founders Month is going to go into doing more research projects, adding projects to the list, because by doing that, they can hire contractors, they can hire statisticians, they can hire writers, and they can do all of that, which now they're limited because there's, the budget is limited, but the infrastructure all exists. And my story around the research comes when I was just out of practice, and I looked at what I would be giving and to whom I would be giving in the current year. And I thought, oh my gosh, I was still living in Canada at the time. There was an organization, I think it was called the Canadian Chiropractic Research something Foundation. That's what it was. And so I looked at, what I would give during the year because I gave a specific amount or a percentage of my income. So I thought, okay, I'm going to send them this year. I'm going to choose them as one of my organizations. And I wrote them a check for $5,000. Okay. That doesn't sound like lots, but for some, it's a lot of money. But I did $5,000 is what I sent to them. 48 hours or so later, I get a phone call from the executive director telling me that was the largest single donation from a chiropractor they had ever received. I almost fell off my chair. I was like, it was $5,000. It was not a big deal. And so today, we're not even, for the month of September, we're not even asking for 5. If you can, that's fine. But if we follow what Dr. Jason suggested, Dr. Jeff suggested, $1 for every person you saw during the month of August, depending on the size of your practice, it might be $5,000, but it probably would not be for the majority of practices around the globe. So every dollar that you give is going to make a difference. And the ask is the important piece if you choose to ask your patients to contribute something. So making them go or asking them that you would create, that's one option. Putting the little flyer that's available in an acrylic holder at your front desk, asking them to contribute $1 extra for each adjustment during the month of September, that could be another way of doing it. But there's all sorts of ways of doing it. But I will tell you that my goal ultimately over the next 3 to 5 years is for us during Founders Month of Research to raise in excess of $2 million. And over time, $5 million. So you think, well, $5 million, that's a lot of money. But when you think about it, if you had 1,000 practices that gave 500 or 1,000, or raised a total of 1,000 each, that's $1 million. Well, we have 60,000 practices or so in the United States. Well, what if we had 5,000 practices that committed to raising a minimum of $1,000? We have $5 million. So the research will come when the tribe that donates the Founders Month of Research starts to increase. And the fact that you want your tribe to contribute, you have a number of members of your tribe. Well, if every member in your tribe contributed, and it contributed the amount that you're suggesting, that's got to be $250,000 to $500,000 from one tribe. And yes, all of us have a little bit of competition. And for the Smart Chiropractor to potentially win the competition in 2021 would be awesome. But I think it would also attract other tribes to say, you know what? We're in now. So I believe that you will be trendsetters, as you already are, with the work that you're doing, obviously. But let's set that trend in getting people engaged and understanding if we give at whatever level we can, we are going to make a difference. And I want it to happen during my tenure here, certainly during our lifetime here. I know Dr. Jeff jokes, thinks I look young, but soon to be 67 and I'm still kicking it and having a hell of a good time doing it. And I love chiropractic. I love chiropractors. I love chiropractors from around the planet. When you come to Atlanta, you're always welcome to come and stay at our house. I mean, I've done that many times before, and I love hanging out with chiropractors, and I love having chiropractors that want to make a difference. And I know that your team, the two of you and your team, want to make a difference.
Thank you, Gilles. I'm going to go back to you in a minute to lay out those goals. I like to get those out in the universe, but I just want to say a couple things before I kick it back over to you, and that is to stress the importance of giving back and of getting research. Everybody, again, in this group, in this tribe of the Smart Chiropractor, they know how we take the time on their behalf to scour through the journals. And if there's nothing there, there's not much that we can work with. So really being able to find high quality research that is produced consistently and that keeps coming out helps us help you by getting that message out there, by really refining your messaging out to your community. And it helps everybody. So I just want to make sure that all the docs out there realize the importance of building that research queue. Being able to get papers published takes time, it takes effort, it takes energy, it takes money. You don't need to do any of the heavy lifting. All we're asking you to do is tally up that total patient visit, the patients that you've seen in August, multiply times $1 for every one of those individuals. Click that link give that back, pay that forward to what we can do in the future with research. And Jill, I'm going to kick it back over. I want you to get out one more time so the universe hears it loud and clear. What are those goals that you're looking for?
A minimum of 1,000 practices that give $1,000. That would be $1 million right out of the gate. If we could do that in 2021, that would be spectacular. We did set the bar a little bit lower than that because we don't know, right? So we've got your group. We have another group that is considering doing exactly the same thing. I got 2 other groups that I'm talking to that may consider doing the same thing. So we're pushing it out to as many people as we can. But that dollar per patient is really, I think, the minimum goal that we're asking people to participate in. So if you saw 1,000 patients during the month of August, we're asking for $1,000. If you saw 50 patients a week times 4, that's $200. We're asking you to invest $200 into research. If you saw, 2,000 patients, then we're going to ask you to invest $2,000 into research for 2021 month of September. And if you feel in your heart of hearts that you could do that consistently on a monthly basis, then do that. I can tell you won't tell you the people, obviously, because you always keep, that confidential. But I can tell you of 2 chiropractors that most of everybody listening in would know that are consistently donating. One is $500 a month. One is $1,000 a month. Every month rather. There's $1,000 deposit that comes into Life University Research because of that chiropractor. Another one, there's a $500 a month that comes in because of that chiropractor. Because they saw and they fully understand that research is the currency of cultural authority, and they don't want to sit on the sideline. They want to be part of the solution. So our goal, we're asking you, become part of the solution. Let's not look in 2025 and say, oh, damn, I wish we had had research that shows the importance of chiropractic with the immune system function like we did in 2019. Wouldn't it have been great if in 2019 we already had the data that backed that up? But we didn't. We could talk about 1918 flu. There's no data. There's no data available. It's all hyperbole and it's all anecdotal. I don't want us to go into 2025 saying, I wish I had contributed. So I made the first contribution to Founders Month of Giving for Research at Life University last week. I was like, boom, I'm going to give immediately, personally. I don't practice anymore. My son's a chiropractor. My wife's a chiropractor. My daughter-in-law's a chiropractor. My kids and grandkids are all chiropractic patients. I want us to prove that what we do and what I did every day actually has an impact. Why? Not for those who already know, for those who don't. For those who don't know that need the research. I know it works. My practice members knew that it worked. But I will tell you, there were a few tens of thousands of people in my community that did not know, even though I talked a lot about chiropractic and the effect on people. But some of them want the data. Some of them want the research. That's what we've got to produce. Let's not sit on the fence anymore, friends. Let's contribute together. Let's be the solution together. Let's be the change that we want to see in the world, as was said by Gandhi, years ago. Let's do that with chiropractic and chiropractic research.
I love it. It's fantastic. I dropped the link down below of all the projects going on, or I should say many of the projects going on at Life University Research Department. Go check them out. I'm looking at them now. So, you've got the one on C19 that's there. That's amazing. You've got a project on lifetime care for those of you that go, no, that doesn't work. It's not true. Let's find out. Let's get the data. You don't know until you know. So we do speak in a world. Listen, there's nobody in today's world that doesn't say, I'm following the science. The question is, which science do they think they're following? So we've got to translate what we know in today's cultural language, and that's the language people speak in. And right now, we're not translating very well. So go ahead, take some time, look at the project list. Again, this is not money going into some big pot of administrative costs that gets gobbled by salaries and all the other stuff. You're like, why am I bothering? This is money that's invested directly into the projects you want to see come to life. No pun intended. As you go down, EEG and autism, the wheel clinic data, which is about a wellness program altogether, spinal movement, brain changes, post-stroke, effective chiropractic care on cardiovascular disease. Like that may be an issue for a lot of people soon. It's on and on and on. So you've got the ability to make a difference. We are competing to be the most generous philanthropic group that's out there. We believe we can do it if we get together and sort of use our network effect, use our support. And Jeff and I are trying to figure out something special to sort of kick it out over the top. We're going to watch what you guys do. We're really asking you to contribute yourselves, as we've mentioned, the $1 per visit in August. Perhaps consider a monthly recurring gift afterwards if you feel like being generous. And you never know until you ask your patients what it is that they would be willing to give. You know, you have saved many people's lives, and you take it for granted. You're like, oh, it happens every day, no problem. But for that person's life you've changed, I can tell you that there are many people that are wealthier than you know and or more generous than you know. It's not only the wealthy that give. It's a spirit, not just a dollar amount or wealth amount. So we're challenging everybody. Gilles asking us, we're asking you. You should ask them for the one thing I think we all have in common, and that's why we're part of the Smart Chiropractor tribe, which is that we love getting smarter, but more importantly than that, Gilles, I love that you mentioned this earlier, it's not just about the profession getting smarter, it's about us getting the data, the research, the science, and getting it to the media, getting it to politicians, getting it to influencers, getting it to, if it requires a public relations group, whatever it is, it's getting the message to the masses. Science is the conversation of the day. And if it is to be, it is up to we. That's our ask. That's our hope. We hope you see it and feel it. If you've got questions, I know you can reach out to Dr. Lamarche directly through Life University. You can ask questions down below. If you want to challenge each other, go ahead and leave some comments down below. I'm in for X. How about you? And let's have fun with all of this. Giving back is a natural law for those of you that know that. And competition is something we all appreciate and enjoy. So let's see who's going to be the most generous, who's going to give the most until it hurts. Either follow the formula or make it up on your own. Either way, please, 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 we're asking, make an investment in your practice, your profession's future. That's really what this is all about. And if you ask me, that's a pretty smart idea.
It's a great idea. So thank you very much for taking time with me today and for bringing the message to your people. Feel free to put my email address down there if you'd like. You both know what it is. So I'm happy to answer any questions if people have any questions. But to reiterate again, this is about doing more of what's been done because the infrastructure is all there. It's already funded. It already exists. But more cash will produce better results, more results.
I love it. So I'm going to encourage everybody, click on down below, add up that patient number, click. You can check out the projects you can give starting right now. You do not need to delay whatsoever. Let's have a fantastic month. You're going to see us talking about this a few more times as we head into September. This is something that we are passionate about. We want to get behind, and we want to see the excitement from everybody in the group as well. So lean into us, ask us questions. We're going to be talking about it. Have an awesome day. For Dr. Jason, for Dr. Gilles, we love you guys. Have an awesome day, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Hey, if you like that video, be sure to subscribe to the Smart Chiropractor. We are posting videos on how you can market your chiropractic practice in a way that teach and invites consistently. We have found that is the magic formula to big time growth. So if you like this video, be sure to comment down below, smash that subscribe button, or visit us at thesmartchiropractor.com.